Knode is a technology, an energy technology business with a big focus on decarbonisation in heavy industry. Um, and we have this very strong view that thermal storage is the most viable pathway to decarbonisation. As mentioned, we work very closely with MGA Thermal, and we've done that for the last 3 years or so. Again, we're strong in our belief that MGA is the best test technology in the market at present. So we've partnered with MGA and WA, NSA, and the NT, where we're really working to drive commercialisation outcomes of the test solution. And we do this in a couple of ways. So we work supplying blocks and the test designs to customers, and we also originate test projects. Our team, we have a strong track record of commercialising technology, and a lot of our progress to date has been on the back of the innovations around how we bring that technology to market. Look, Joe did a pretty good job of covering this, but I'll just restate quickly. Industry is really heavily dependent on heat and steam for processing and manufacturing, and in doing that, it uses vast amounts of energy to achieve it. The bulk of that industrial heat comes from fossil fuels, which are also the main sources of emissions. In Australia, it's really the big heavy emitters that drive a lot of the jobs and exports. So keeping these industries operating in Australia is really crucial. And we see a genuine risk where if these industries can't decarbonise economically, then they'll either adopt a harvest strategy and operate the resource until they're no longer viable and they'll shutter them, or there's a genuine risk where they will go offshore to jurisdictions with lower carbon standards or with cheaper energy. So this is a lot of our motivation to try and solve this challenge with decarbonisation. TES provides a viable and economic pathway to decarbonisation in that temperature range above 200 degrees and below 650 degrees where we operate. And this is something like 20% of overall heat use. And we think in this space, TES will win. Just as a quick look across some different options, this is a collection of electric heat options that we see most often, and it's not exhaustive, but we think it's fairly representative of what's around and available in the near term. So if we go through them, hydrogen, to be blunt, is and always was a pipe dream. It's really not viable for heat. It'll always have a place in industry as a molecule, but we just don't see that happening as a heat source. E-boilers are really interesting. They're a low capex item, and they definitely have a place for intermittent heat requirements. But if your need is to produce steam around the clock and you're fully exposed to market prices, then our view is that OPEX will drive the TCO too high. Now you can offset some of those peak periods by adding a battery to the e-boiler, but as you go to scale, this is likely to blow up the capex. So we think batteries are probably an unlikely way to be an economic way to address heat. It's less efficient than directly heating as you do with a TES. And it's difficult to see the capex cost of BESS coming down to TES levels. So currently TES is about 20% of the capex cost of BESS. And these two factors sort of suggest that probably this solution of e-boiler plus BESS won't be a player at the scale in industrial heat. And particularly when we're talking about heat in gigawatt hours of storage, which is where we are with heavy industry. TES capex, while it's a bit higher than e-boilers, it's relatively low, and we are fairly early in the learning curve, so you can expect those costs to drop further. TES balances capex against the ability to time shift electricity purchases, so that means you only buy energy at the cheapest parts of the day, and this significantly lowers your OPEX. So overall, your TCO is very favourable. Our MGA test also supports simultaneous charge and discharge, and that helps you in spanning that 24-hour period during the day. The other important thing about TES is we don't have some of the restrictions that BESS faces, so you can basically charge at any stage and you don't have to do it contiguously. So that means you can then have a fully opportunistic purchasing strategy. It's also worth noting there are many scenarios where the business case for adding a turbine on the back doesn't really work. So it is feasible to put a turbine behind the HRSG and generate electricity back to the market. It doesn't always work and it requires a bit of scale. But what is an alternate revenue stream is using the TES for demand response. The heaters are a very big load. They can be turned off very quickly. So there's an opportunity there to derive a secondary revenue stream from demand response. And because you have such long storage, there's enough flexibility in the system to take these payments when they're available without affecting your production. An important outcome, we finished our PFS in June last year, and what it demonstrated to us was that we can produce steam at close to parity with gas. And we're building our TES KW1 project to prove that. So, one of the big questions was, how do you address the challenge of getting a TES to market, and especially a first of a kind project like this? And really, that was the way we decided to break this, was to actually build a plant ourselves. It seems to be the best way to move things along. So that's what we're in the throes of doing with TES KW1. It's for a commercial customer in Kwinana. As mentioned, we completed the PFS in June last year, which showed the asset's viable. And as I say, we think it'll be at parity with gas. And the reason I say we think is, in the WEM, gas prices are fairly opaque. It's quite difficult to know what an individual customer is being charged, whereas in the NEM, those gas prices are published, and we believe in that circumstance, and we are at parity or better with gas. Interesting, Joe mentioned this. So the asset will be built as a heat as a service. So it'll be an off-balance sheet asset, which provides heat to Tronox over its entire lifetime. The TES will have 12 hours of storage, and it may end up being more post the feed, and it'll charge in 6 hours, which is important because you can charge in that short window when the prices are low. And again, it can be charged and discharged simultaneously, which gives us a lot of flexibility around those charging strategies. Very importantly, for any industrial site, it has a compact footprint, and given most sites we talk to are brownfields, that's super important. We also, Joe mentioned this, which I was pleased about. So our feed design will incorporate our medium voltage heater design, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. In the beginning of the presentation, I spoke about innovations required to bring the project to market. Physical technology is hard and it takes a long time. And our experience is companies won't move unless there's a significant benefit in changing technologies. So a lot of this project has been around finding ways to address these challenges and to drive that adoption. The first innovation was that heat as a service. So that was something that really changed the conversation with our customers and brought people's enthusiasm forwards. And it really was one of the accelerators for the project. And what we're finding is, as we talk to more customers, this has increasingly been a discussion point. So it really does show there are a lot of capital constraints in heavy industry. The PFS was actually funded originally by a consortium, which allowed us to de-risk the project for all the parties concerned, and it has allowed that rapid progress. The consortium model is one we'll use going forwards, and we have subscriber seats available in our feed. So if you're considering TES as a solution, this is a cheap way to get a deep understanding of the techno-economics and to participate in a forum with a group of non-competitive industry peers. So our belief is that MGA Thermal has a technology edge in the market. MGA blocks store energy in the phase change, as Joe mentioned, and we see latent heat storage has some advantages over sensible heat as a storage medium, particularly around the very high energy density, which is 2 to 3 times that of a sensible heat product, and in the very even discharge profile. That discharge profile is crucial because MGA blocks discharge at an even temperature over the whole duration of the storage. So they can easily stay above the outlet temperature. And what this means is you don't need to heat to very high temperatures in order to stay above that outlet. And so the temperatures we operate at are well below 900 degrees. Because of this, you can use the medium voltage heaters, which have some significant CapEx and OpEx advantages, particularly around less transformers, a smaller transformer yard. You require less heaters, less wires, so less copper, less instrumentation. And then on the OpEx side, you have lower losses, so that's savings as well. So overall, this means it's an easier solution to implement, and the design primarily uses off-the-shelf components, which de-risk the commercialization, but it also provides operational certainty. And importantly, you don't end up with this sort of funky high-temperature engineering, which can cause you problems. So TES really is getting ready for prime time for heat requirements for 200 degrees and above on sites of all sizes. Our feed study for TES KW1 will kick off at the end of next month. It'll be a 9 to 10 month study. So we're expecting to be completed by early February next year, and we'll hopefully move to construction not too long after that. We are very excited about the project. You can see that this will prove TES commercially, and not just for MGA. We think it's good for a range of technologies. which importantly, it also provides a demonstrated pathway to decarbonised heat, which will play an important role in keeping industry and jobs in Australia. We are, as mentioned, still looking for consortium participants, and there are a couple of subscription options for that. So we're always happy to chat about that or talk about TES in industrial settings. So please get in touch if you'd like to have a chat.